In a dark Cambridge lab, chained chimpanzees screech in cages, their eyes wild. TV screens flicker with images of riots, people screaming, buildings burning. Animal rights activists, faces hidden behind masks, sneak inside, ready to free the animals. A scientist catches them and begs them to stop. The chimps are infected with a virus called rage, he warns. It spreads through blood or saliva and turns you violent. The activists don't buy it. One woman ignores him and opens a cage. A chimp lunges, biting her arm. Within seconds, her eyes turn red, and she screams, attacking her friends with feral rage. The virus is loose. 28 days later, Jim, a bike courier, wakes up in a London hospital bed. He's naked, hooked to IVs, and alone. Confused, he rips out the needles and pulls on green scrubs. The hospital is eerily quiet, no nurses, no patients. He wanders the halls, calling out, but only his echo answers. Downstairs, he grabs a can of Pepsi from a vending machine, gulping it down. His stomach growls, but he doesn't think to take more. Stepping outside, Jim freezes. London's streets are deserted. Trash litters the sidewalks. Newspapers, flyers, abandoned bags. A double-decker bus lies tipped over. He shouts for anyone, but the city stays silent, like it's holding its breath. Jim walks on, passing overturned cars and empty shops. He spots a pile of cash fluttering on the ground and stuffs some in his pockets, unsure why. A fountain sits dry, and birds scatter from a wrecked car's alarm. The emptiness feels wrong, heavy. At Piccadilly Circus, massive billboards loom, their ads faded. A church nearby draws him in. Inside, he sees words scrawled on the walls. The end is extremely f***ing nigh. His heart races. He calls out, "Hello." No reply. Then, a noise, footsteps. A priest stumbles toward him, eyes bloodshot, snarling. Jim backs away as more infected appear, their screams guttural. He runs, the horde chasing him through the streets. Suddenly, two figures in gas masks hurl Molotov cocktails, setting the infected ablaze. They grab Jim and sprint to safety, ducking into a shop. Panting, they introduce themselves. Selena, tough and sharp, and Mark, steady but haunted. Jim, still reeling, explains he's a courier who got hit by a car and woke up in the hospital. Selena and Mark exchange a look. They tell him the truth. A virus called rage swept through Britain while he was in a coma. It started with riots, then people turned into raging monsters. The TV went dark and the army couldn't stop it. The last broadcast said the virus hit Paris and New York. Jim shakes his head. What about the government? He asks. Selena's voice is flat. There's no government. Mark adds, maybe they're in a bunker, but we're on our own. Jim's mind spins, but one thought cuts through, his parents. He needs to find them. Selena and Mark agree to help, but they set rules. Never go anywhere alone, and don't take risks unless you have to. At dawn, the trio heads to Jim's parents' house in Deptford. The house is quiet, too quiet. Inside, Jim finds his parents in bed, dead from a suicide pact. A note beside them reads, "Don't wake up." Photos of a smiling Jim as a kid are clutched in their hands. His knees buckle. Selena and Mark don't push him to talk. Mark shares his own loss. His family was torn apart by infected in a crowd. They decide to stay the night, the silence broken only by memories. Jim can't sleep. He lights a candle and flips through his mom's old magazines, photos of happier times flooding back. The candle's glow catches an infected neighbor's eye outside. It smashes through the window, snarling. Mark tackles it, but another lunges at Selena. Jim swings a lamp, smashing its head. In the chaos, Mark gets bitten. Blood drips from his arm. Selena doesn't hesitate. She hacks him down with a machete. Jim stares, horrified. He was infected, Selena says, her voice hard. It takes seconds. You wait, you die. She hands Jim a Pepsi from her bag, and they move on. In the distance, Jim spots lights flashing in a tower block. Someone's there, he says. Selena nods. They head toward it. The tower's stairs are blocked with shopping carts, a barricade against infected. Jim and Selena climb, exhausted but driven. A man in riot gear appears, wielding a bat. He swings at an infected chasing them, then waves them up. At the top, a girl opens an apartment door. The man, Frank, takes off his helmet, revealing a tired but kind face. His daughter, Hannah, watches warily. Frank welcomes Jim and Selena, offering tinned beans and water. Their apartment is a makeshift home, with buckets for toilets and no power. Frank explains they've been surviving here since the outbreak. He's a cabbie, not a soldier, but he's learned to fight. Frank shares a radio message he's been hearing, a military broadcast promising a safe zone at the 42nd blockade near Manchester, with food, protection, and a cure. It's a loop, but it gives him hope. "We can't stay here forever," he says. No rain, no water. The roof is lined with buckets, but London's dry spell has left them empty. Selina's skeptical. Military promises sound like a trap. Hannah doesn't want to leave either. But Jim, still raw from losing his parents, backs Frank. "We need something to aim for," he says. After a tense debate, they agree to go together. 4 is stronger than 2, and Frank wants Hannah protected, no matter what. They pack Frank's cab and hit the road. London streets are a graveyard of cars and rubble. A tunnel ahead is dark, clogged with wrecks. Their tire blows out inside, forcing them to stop. As they change it, rats swarm past, fleeing something. Infected burst from the shadows, sprinting toward them. Frank floors the gas, barely escaping. They stop at a supermarket, grabbing food and supplies. Hannah picks a green apple, savoring it. Frank leaves his credit card on the counter, a reflex from a lost world. Outside, they drive through a field of wildflowers, the scene soft like a painting. At a farm, they siphon gas from a truck. Jim checks the farmhouse, calling out. No one answers, but the emptiness feels heavy. They stop for a picnic by the road, a rare moment of peace. Wild horses gallop nearby, untouched by the virus. Frank watches them, smiling. "They're free," he says. Hannah leans into him, and Jim sees their bond. Selina softens, admitting she was wrong to think survival was everything. "Moments like this, they matter," she says. She kisses Jim, a spark in the chaos. That night, they camp in an open field. Hannah can't sleep, haunted by fear. Selina gives her a Valium, confessing she takes them too. In her dreams, Selina's alone, calling out to no one. The loneliness scares her more than the infected. At dawn, Frank wakes them. The radio loops. "We have a safe zone. We have the answer to infection." They drive on, reaching the M1 motorway. Smoke rises in the distance as they near the 42nd blockade. The military base is deserted, tents torn, and vehicles abandoned. Frank's hope crumbles. "It's empty," he whispers. A crow lands on a corpse, cawing. Blood drips into Frank's eye from its beak. He screams, infected in seconds. Jim grabs Hannah as Frank lunges. Selina hesitates, but soldiers appear, shooting Frank dead. Hannah wails, collapsing. The soldiers take Jim, Selina, and Hannah to a fortified mansion, the real safe zone. Major Henry West greets them, polished and in control. The mansion has food, hot water, and defenses, barbed wire, mines, floodlights. Jim, still in shock, cleans up and notices a cut on his leg. Hannah's numb, mourning Frank. Selina tries to comfort her, but Hannah asks, "Are we the only ones left?" Jim doesn't answer, just holds her hand. West shows Jim the setup. A kitchen, a hot water tank, and a backyard where an infected soldier, Mailer, is chained for study. "We're learning how they work," West says. At dinner, canned stew is served, but an alarm blares. Infected attack the perimeter. The soldiers fight them off, but one, Davis, turns on West, ranting about hopelessness. West stabs him, his calm cracking. Jim senses something off. West's men are disciplined but desperate. He overhears a soldier, Farrell, whisper about the virus and escape plans. Jim wants to leave, but West's men catch him snooping. They lock him in a cell with Farrell, who says, "There's no cure." West is losing it. The next morning, soldiers drag them to a pit filled with infected corpses. They aim rifles at Jim and Farrell. Jim plays dead, slumping as shots ring out. Farrell's hit, but Jim slips away, still cuffed, hiding in the woods. A plane buzzes overhead, someone's out there. Jim sneaks back to the mansion, fueled by rage. Selina and Hannah are in danger. West's men plan to use them to repopulate. Jim finds Selina in a red dress, drugged but fighting. He shoots a soldier, breaks the chains holding Mailer, and lets the infected loose. Chaos erupts. Hannah, hiding, grabs a photo of Frank, her last piece of him. Jim lures soldiers into traps, smashing one's head against a wall. West corners him, shooting Jim in the gut. Selina and Hannah find Jim, blood pooling. Selina checks him for infection, but he's clean. They drag him to the cab and speed away as the mansion burns. 28 days later, Jim wakes in a cottage, bandaged. Selina stitches a cloth, and Hannah smiles at him. "He's alive," She saved him with battlefield first aid. They step outside, laying out sheets spelling "hello" on the grass. A jet roars above, spotting them. The pilot sees the word and radios for rescue. Jim, Selena, and Hannah stand together. The world's still broken, but theirs to face. Hope flickers, fragile but real.